Okay, so in this video I'm going to talk about the stamp that comes on your dimensional lumber. Each 2x4 will be stamped with this to tell the history of that 2x or dimensional lumber. So let's go over it real quick. So we'll start here with this first one. This stamp, this is WWP. This is the certification association that it meets quality standards. So each 2x4 is inspected for quality, so it meets the standard for whatever grade that is being stamped onto it. Okay, so the rest of these numbers right here, so this one right here, this number 12, sometimes it'll have a name or a brand, but this indicates the mill where the lumber came from. Okay, so you can always go back and say you got a bunch of crappy 2x and they were stamped for number 2 construction lumber, but they're way past that. You can find out where they came from and then trace it back to whoever's supposed to have inspected them. Okay, so that's the mill. Sometimes, like I said, it'll have a name. This right here, this standard or better, this is the grade of the lumber. So it's a standard or better. So that'd be like a number 2 construction lumber or better. Okay, or better means that it's maybe not quite a number 1, but pretty close or something like that. So it'll tell you what the grade for your lumber is. Remember, the grade, the higher the grade, the more it costs. Okay, so that is the grade of the lumber. S-dry stands for the moisture content. Now, S-dry means that maximum moisture content of 19%. Some other ones you'll run into is MC15 or KD15, which is the maximum 15%, or you'll run into S-grain, which means that it has a higher moisture content than S-dry. Okay, so this is up to 15, this is up to 19, and this is S-grain is above that. So it'll tell you what moisture content is the lumber. Of course, when you build, you want lower moisture content, probably closer to around 10%, so you don't get that moisture issues inside your walls. Okay, and then the last thing over here, it'll have the species. This stamp right here is for D fir, which is Douglas fir. It may have a stamp for hemlock or yellow pine or spruce or whatever other type of lumber it is, but then that'll be the identifier. So any place, or excuse me, someplace on the stud, there should be a stamp with this information on it. It will always be the same information. It may look a little different because it'll have a name instead of a number. You know, the moisture content will change, the species will change, this will change, but it's generally going to be someplace on the stud or the dimensional lumber. Okay, so real quick review: we got species, moisture content, grade, we got the mill, and then we have who inspected it. Okay, so that's the information that you will find on dimensional lumbers when you buy it. Okay, and then sometimes you'll see this right here, and it says 1/4 inch EE. That means eased edges. So if you look at like 5x5 or 4x6, you go in there and the corners are at 90 degrees. Okay, those are not eased edges. You'll notice when you pick up a 2x4, it's got the slightly rounded edges on them. Those are eased edges, so that the corners aren't so sharp when you slide them in your hands and stuff. So 1/4 EE means it'll probably be right underneath the grade of the lumber. It'll say 1/4 EE, which means that it's a number 2 and it's got rounded over edges on it. Okay, so that's what that means if you run into that symbol also. So these are the identifiers for construction dimensional lumber.